There have been so many stories about Ingrid Bergman, one of the most popular actresses of all time, and I don't know which version you heard, but if you give me just 10 minutes of your time, I will educate you fully on the intriguing life and career of this legendary actress. But before we go on, it would mean a lot if you could just hit the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel and comment "I subscribed," and we would try our best to give a personal shout out for every comment. If you are through with that, let's get started. Early life. Ingrid Bergman was born in Stockholm, Sweden on 29 August 1915 to Justus Samuel Bergman, an artist and photographer of Swedish descent, and Frida Henrietta Augusta Louise, who was of German descent. Although she spent most of her childhood in Sweden, she could speak German fluently because she spent most of her summers in Germany. As a child, she suffered several losses, which must have been terribly traumatic for her. When she was only 2 years old, she lost her mother and was raised mostly by her father. As a child, she had a lot of exposure to the camera by her father, who was always taking pictures of her and encouraging her artistic pursuits. He even caught a few scenes of her using a motion camera, which the famous director Ingrid Bergman compiled and edited, making them into short home movies. Contrary to numerous public speculations, she was not related to the filmmaker. They only worked together. At the age of 12, her father died too, leaving her in the care of her sister, who died of heart disease only 6 months later. She went to live with an uncle and his family, then with her maternal aunt Hulda, her husband, and 5 children. Later on, she went to live with her other maternal aunt, Elsa, whom she adopted as her mother. She had always wanted an actress right from her childhood and was fueled by her father's support and encouragement. He taught her everything she knew about acting and appearing before a camera as a child. Before his death, her relatives were also supportive of her dreams and would allow her to sometimes wear her dead mother's clothes and stage plays in her father's empty studio. She was later awarded a scholarship to the Royal Dramatic Theatre School in Sweden, where she went on to perfect her craft. Career. After a few months at the school, she was given a role in the Sigrid Schwartz crime play Et Brott, but this was against the school's rules, so she had to reject the role. But during the summer break of her first year, she was offered a contract by a Swedish film studio that she couldn't say no to. She subsequently had to leave the Royal Dramatic Theatre after just a year of studies to start her career. Her first role was in the Swedish film The Count of the Old Town, a comedy film that was directed by Edvin Adolfsson and Sigrid Wallin. She went on to star in several other films in Sweden, including Intermezzo, which was her first leading role, released in 1936. 3 years later, she moved to the United States upon invitation by David O. Selznick, a Hollywood producer, who introduced her to the American film industry and handed Ingrid her first leading role in an American film. It was in Intermezzo, a love story, which was an English remake of the Swedish film Intermezzo, the one she starred in. She was a bit unsure about how the American audience would react to her presence on their screens and wanted to leave after making her first film, but Selznick persuaded her to stay. He was, however, concerned about her too, mainly because she could not speak a breath of English, and her appearance was a bit different from other Hollywood actresses. She also had thick eyebrows and was really tall. Even her name was difficult to pronounce, but she was soon accepted the way she was and didn't have to change a single thing about her, including her thick eyebrows. It was reported that she totally ignored Selznick's suggestions about how to change her look and was terrified of Hollywood makeup artists who she feared might turn her into someone she wouldn't recognize. The movie Intermezzo was a massive success that instantly shot her to Hollywood stardom with a ton of amazing reviews. She was described as sensational, and Life magazine added that workmen went out of their way to do things for her, and everyone admired the warmness and work ethic. She continued to appear in several other movies, some of her most popular being Casablanca and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. She won several awards in her career, including 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, 1 Tony Award, 4 Golden Globe Awards, and 3 Academy Awards, thus becoming one of the very few women in the history of Hollywood to win 3 Academy Awards. Personal life. At the age of 21, she got married to Peter Aron Lindstrom, with whom she had a daughter, Fridel Pia Lindstrom. He tried as much as possible to stay off the public eye, as he had a distaste for being associated with the tinsel glamour of Hollywood. While married to Lindstrom, she had several affairs with colleagues, including Victor Fleming, who was equally married, a war photographer Robert Capa, and co-star Gregory Peck. She was involved in a quite messy scandal with Italian director Roberto Rossellini, who was also married at the time. It was in 1949, after Ingrid had written to Rossellini suggesting that they make a film together. because she was a great admirer of his works. Together they made an averagely successful film, Stromboli, which she played the lead role in. During the production of the movie, they started an affair. That wasn't such a good idea. She was practically exiled from Hollywood after her affair with Rossellini was uncovered and denounced by the White House. To make matters worse, she had a son for him in the heat of the scandal. Ed Sullivan refused to have her on his show, despite public requests that asked for Ingrid on the show. Steve Allen, however, invited her to his own show, which was equally popular, advising the public to quit judging people's artistic works with their personal lives. She had to return to Italy until things cooled off, before making a comeback into Hollywood. She later divorced Lindstrom and married Rossellini, birthing twin daughters for him. The marriage ended when Rossellini had an affair with Sonali Dasgupta and married her instead. In 1958, Ingrid got married to Lars Schmidt, a theatrical entrepreneur who was from a wealthy Swedish family whose main business was shipping. They stayed together for almost 2 decades before going their separate ways in 1975. They, however, remained very good friends, and Lars was even by her side when she died. Death. Ingrid Bergman was one of the few people in the world who died on their birthdays. She died at the age of 67 in London from breast cancer, which she had been fighting for 8 years. Her body was cremated, and some of it was placed to rest next to her parents' ashes in Northern Cemetery in Stockholm, while the rest were scattered in the sea around the islet Danholmen on the west coast of Sweden. So there you have it, all you need to know about Ingrid Bergman in 10 minutes. Let us know what you think about this video, and do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more amazing content. See you next time.